Hey guys, Buckskin Dave here. Anyway, I've started to skin out these beaver tails, and after reading your comments, several of you wanted to see it done, and so I'm working on it. I'm no expert at this, okay? A lot of what I'm doing is experimental. I've started this one here, as you can see. What I find, and you want a little too, don't you? This one's Echo. Echo's very interested in this beaver tail. What it is a skin on top of gristle. Okay, it's very difficult to figure out where the skin is, and when you get to the skin, it's very thin, and you can cut through it, even though it doesn't look like you could. Well, I tried my buffalo skinner stuff. They were a little bit big. This one here is what I do most of my skinning with, and it's just a trapper, little pocket trapper, but I keep it in my bag here for with all my skin and stuff. And then I usually have a stone here. This thing's soft. About 2 or 3 times during the coyote, you got to give her a shot, and it's really it's soft, so it doesn't take much to put an edge on it. And then it goes down, and for fur stuff, it's good because you don't want really too sharp of a knife sometimes. This one here, what I'm finding, if you guys have not bought one of these knives with the interchangeable razor blades, really ought to look into them because they're sharp. More importantly, the shape of the blade is really good. And for this, it's really been working well because this is basically that tail skin on top of gristle. And the gristle's really tough. So I've been working it down. And then when it gets to the thin part of the tail, that's when you got to be careful because the whole tail itself doesn't have much. You almost just split it is what you do from the front side to the back side. There's just not a lot of gristle there. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off. I'll flip it over, and then I'll bring you in close and let you see what I'm doing. So get a cup of coffee because this is going to be something that you want to sit and drink a cup of coffee while we're doing. I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, so see, this is where I'm getting to the thin part. And you can see right here, this is getting right, this is gristle. And you can see we're getting to the skin, and you can see where I'm going to be scraping this off. But these like darker spots, that's where you're getting closer to the skin. What's becoming a problem where it was thick here, it was easy to make this cut along here. But now when it gets thin, there's very little gristle, and it's just basically the two pieces of tail skin that you kind of got to cut through. And you want to keep it, I'm making 2 sides. Each one of these will be a knife sheath if it turns out. But once you get it down to here, it's nice to have this very sharp blade to work your way through this gristle. You just got to try to keep it out of the skin part of the tail. So it's coming along pretty good, but see, it's almost, there's no gristle in between the 2 pieces of skin, front side, back side. So just have to go easy. Try not, just like skinning anything else, try not to put a hole in it. I really do like this little, I resisted buying one of these little razor blade knives, trying to be the old mountain man guy that has his old knife that he sharpens on the rocks in the creek, but you can't argue with this kind of stuff here. Anyway, I'm going to finish this one off. I'll turn it over and you can get a peek at doing that one. Okay. So this is the one side. And see, when you get down here, there's no gristle in between. It's really difficult. And I ended up breaking it down here, but I don't think it's going to make much difference because I'm still going to have plenty for a knife sheath. And you know, a lot of times you cut off a lot of those edges and stuff. Now, this one's the skin piece. See, I'll probably cut some of this off, and this gristle is really hard to get off of here, so I'll scrape some off with this knife and get it down as close to as I can. And then after I put it in the lime, Muskrat says it kind of dries out a little and you can scrape the rest of it off. So anyway, so that's how you get that off. According to legend, this was supposed to be like really good food for the mountain man. So I imagine this gristle is what they ate. I've never tried it. Any of you guys tried it, I would welcome your comments. This one's been in the freezer for about a couple months. I don't know that that would make any difference. I suppose you could probably trim this off like this, and I don't know how you'd make it, boil it. I think the mountain man used to boil it. So anyway, that's something for another day. I'm going to scrape that in a minute. Now, this is the other side. So what we're going to do is skin this down too, like that one, and then I'll scrape both sides. And I've got 2 tails to do. Let me get this started, and I'll be back with you in a sec. It's not so bad up here where it's thicker. You have an idea what you're cutting through. When it gets down thin and there's no gristle, you're almost just splitting it, and it's kind of tough to do it without breaking the skin. I think these are going to make really cool knife sheaths. There's a fella here in this area that makes wallets and stuff out of these, and I bought one from him probably 20 years ago, and you just can't wear these out. This is some really tough stuff. But it's pretty much just cut the gristle off. And I don't believe it has a bone in it. I think it's a cartilage down the center. This is a bone here, but I think as it goes down the tail, it turns to more to cartilage. What do you think, Echo? Watch out, you're going to get your nose cut. Well, you want some of this, don't you? Well, it must be good. Echo wants some. You would have been okay in a mountain man camp, wouldn't you, Echo? Yeah. Said, don't eat that tail. I want some. But you can see how I'm just working my way down here. I'm trying to get off as much of it as I can when I'm going through it. But I also think that I'm going to end up scraping a lot off anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it apart. Well, it's funny, this side looks like it has a lot more arteries on it than the other side did. Anyway, I'm going to finish this up and then we'll get the other one started. That's kind of what they look like. They need some more scraping. Okay. That's where we're at. They're pretty close, but they need a little more scraping. This is what's left. This would probably go in the boiling pot. Well, this one won't. Probably go in the boiling pot and be dinner or something. I know my dogs are really interested in this. This gristle, I don't know how many of you ever skinned a beaver, but you know, you cut it up the middle and you work it all the way around, and then you work it down to the head and cut all the eyes and everything, the lips off and around the feet and all that. Well, when you put it on your fleshing beam, I always start with the side, and it pushes off with the dull side of the fleshing knife. Just pushes right off, you know, and you can push it all the way to the end of the skin. Perfect. And then you can do the same kind of in the center. But when you start getting on the center back meat, all the way down towards coming to the tail on the back, you have to use the sharp part of the knife, and you pretty much shave it off all the way down. And that's basically what you're doing with the tail. Once we get it off of this piece, you know, let's get it off that piece, and I got it laying here. I put it on this flat table here, and I just got this razor knife, and I'm just shaving it off as close as I can without punching through the skin. And so I need to do a little more of that, and I will be, but I have another project first. I need to do the other one. So get you another cup of coffee, stick with me. I'll start working on this, and I'll bring you back in as we go along. Hey, I'll tell you what I'm going to do too. While you're drinking your coffee and I'm working on this, I did some scouting the other day, and I got some deer and pictures and stuff, and take a look at them, see what you think. I got them here. Okay. These two, pretty close. With these two here. So I'm gonna run and get some buckets, a bucket, and put some water in it and some lime. I'm gonna have to. I don't usually do stuff like this time of the year, mainly because you leave it outside, it just freezes. But some of that grease into this leather. Everything freezes. It's like, well, I've got some deer hides in there. I've got like 3 deer hides in there that I want to brain tan this year. If I start it now, about the time I get through the dehairing process, I'll have a garbage can full of frozen water with hide in it. These I can put in a bucket and just put them in the corner in the shop over here and keep the shop warm enough. And when you dehair like a deer hide or something, a couple of 3 days, 4 days, and you pull it and you'll see the hair will start to slip. The reason why I'm putting these in here, there's a scale on this. There's scales on here, and the lime will loosen it up, and then you'll be able to get it and put it on like so. And you know, you probably couldn't see that in the camera, but you know, you can put it on something like this, and it'll pop all them scales off. Then it'll be ready to go into the tanning solution, and the tanning solution will be able to get in on both sides. So I'm gonna run and get a bucket and some lime. I'll be right back. I put in about 2 cups of lime. It's regular type, whatever you get at the lumber yard. Half a bucket, maybe a little less. We get them stirred up, and then we'll put them in here. It'll probably take a couple of weeks. So, and We'll get the scales off them, and then we'll make a tanning mixture. These are going to be bark tanned. So, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and, I've got a lid here, snap-on lid. I'll cover it up and put it down, not real close to the stove, but close enough to the stove that this won't freeze, which is probably anywhere in this shop. The back side of the shop, though, gets pretty cold. It doesn't get much air there. So I'm mixing this up. I'm going to snap the lid down, and I'm going to say that's all, folks, for this episode. Stick with the channel. We got more things coming along down the road here, and you'll want to stay with this project too. So have a great day. I'm Buckskin Dave. See you later.